Excuse me, do you know why we pulled you over today? Exactly, it's because you're not subscribed. So you better fix that right now, or we're gonna have to take you in. Yeah, I'm not completely sure. Anyways, since you guys were complaining about which website I'm using, here you go, 9 to 5 flippin' Mac for you guys. iPhone 14 may not have a new chip, and here's why that's actually not a big deal. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal either, right? This is stuff, I would understand that most people would say like, okay, why would I upgrade? Again, these devices are not built to be upgraded every single year. But we're going to get into it anyway.
iPhone the 14th may not have a new chip, and here's why that's actually no big deal. Yesterday, Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo reported that some iPhone 14 models will keep the same A15 Bionic chip instead of being updated to a more powerful A16 Bionic processor later this year. 9 to 5 Mac sources also independently corroborated this reporting, but here's why you shouldn't make a big deal of this possible decision. There are many reasons why Apple keeping A15 Bionic on the regular models of the iPhone 14 is a good deal. First of all, reports indicate that the company will finally discontinue the iPhone mini. Without this phone, Apple would bet on a regular 6.1-inch model followed along by a larger Plus Max version with a 6.7-inch display. That said, Apple's iPhone line would be made by two iPhones with a 6.1-inch display and two iPhones with a 6.7-inch display. How to differentiate them? Well, the processor is one of the possibilities. Some Android manufacturers already do that with their flagship phones that are not the really premium ones, I mean. The Galaxy S22 model is pretty much the same as the S21 version, and all the great changes were made to the Ultra model. With Apple possibly following this trend, not only will it be clear for those who really want the very best iPhone, but it will also impact for the good those who are planning on upgrading their old iPhones. I imagine that the company would sell the regular iPhone 14 for the price of the iPhone 13 mini, while this Plus Max iPhone 14 could cost the same as the regular iPhone 13. Wouldn't that be great? Apart from that, Apple could also bring some iPhone 13 Pro exclusive features to the iPhone 14 phone, a larger main camera sensor, macro photography, and promotion. Isn't Apple doing the same with the Apple Watch? It's not the first time Apple uses the same chip on a new iPhone model. 9 to 5 Mac's Benjamin Mayo wrote, if true, this would be the first time in almost a decade that Apple would bifurcate the flagship iPhone specs by the type of chip series it uses. The last time the company did this was way back in 2013, when the iPhone 5S got the A7 but the cheaper iPhone 5C merely sported the one-year-old A6 chip. Not only that, but if you think about the Apple Watch, Apple did pretty much the same with Series 4 and Series 5. It then updated Series 6 with a new chip to then add it to the Series 7. Aren't you all buying? Apple Watch is non-stop even if the product keeps almost the same processor and basically the same sensors for 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very good point. I would say that like repackaging a chip is not a bad idea, especially like if you look at the Series 7. If you want to go a little bit in depth in what happened there, is they repackaged the is it a system on a package here? It's not a system on a chip, it's a system in a package. So they repackaged it, the chip, and they also gave it some more features so it could handle the new display, handle some new features that were in the I can't really remember what it was, but it got repackaged, but it got some new display controllers and some new things to handle whatever changed in the Apple Watch. And they might be able to do that with the next iPhone as well, right? The standard line iPhone. And apparently the other chip, the A16, is necessary for stuff that is going to happen in the Pro version. It might be, let's take the same example as Thunderbolt again. If you want to have a Thunderbolt, if you want to have Thunderbolt speeds on the I don't know, the USB-C port, you're gonna need a Thunderbolt controller for that. Now, does the other iPhone that won't get USB-C? This is all hypothetical, right? This is completely fantasy. I'm just trying to give you an example where this would make sense. Does the other iPhone without a Thunderbolt plug or a USB-C plug or input need a Thunderbolt controller? Probably not. So this is basically something that I would say, yeah, makes sense, right? It just makes sense.
9 to 5 Max Ben Lovejoy just got himself a ceramic Apple Watch Series 5 and he's happy as he can be. When you talk about the iPhone, you have another standout point: the A series chips are a beast. Even if Apple releases an iPhone 14 with the A15 Bionic, it will still be faster and have a longer life cycle than the Galaxy S23, I'm sure. iPhone 14 is not for you, it's the iPhone 14 Pro. If you are a 9 to 5 Mac reader and consider yourself a Pro user, you know you'll buy the iPhone 14 Pro Max, so hear me out. You'll have a lot to say about this phone. Rumors so far indicate a brand new design, amazing camera improvements, more RAM, and, since you care, a new generation A series chip. Apple will also keep the 1TB option just for Pro users, a stainless steel finish, and for sure some gimmick that will only be available for the iPhone 14 Pro phones. The regular model users, on the other hand, will most likely benefit from a great phone with a great battery life, new features, but a processor that is twice as fast as the ones from the competition, but probably 20% slower than the Pro model. This isn't a bad deal at all. Wrap up. Embrace yourselves, because everything points out that the iPhone 14 will come with the A15 Bionic. But as I just wrote, this isn't a bad thing. If you are not convinced, you can also blame the semiconductor chips shortage, but I don't even think that's the case. Apple has been making the best chips over the past few years, and having the previous version is still better than having next year's competition processor. That said, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on the comment section below.
The comment section probably blew up, but especially that last statement is wild. I mean, if you have any Android fanboys reading this, it would go wild. It reminds me of the comment that I feel like Luke Mignani made. Was it Luke Mignani? He said, Apple basically released a display with a chip that is faster than most Android flagship phones currently in use. Ladies and gentlemen, just let that sink in. Shit! Anyways, let's just look at the comments here. But why? Once the A16 production ramps up, they should go all A16, every iPhone 14 model. So, I understand this thinking, right? Because we have been sitting in this for years, but maybe, I'm not sure, let's say Apple could use that budget in putting different features that are now on the iPhone 13 Pro on the iPhone 14 normal, because they have some budget left over. They're using the previous year chip. They might be able to bring some Pro RAW features over. Like, I'm just speculating here, right? Because of that budget, you won't have to pay for a bunch of features that are now exclusive to the Pro. So I guess, yeah, I understand that, but also we have to be, like, again, these phones are not made to upgrade every single year. For the general public, most people that are going to upgrade to the iPhone 14 are still going to get a new chip. For them, it's going to be a new chip and a higher performing chip. Now, again, if you are someone that upgrades year over year, something that I do as well, then I can understand why this is a little bit of a bummer, especially if you are like an iPhone, the standard iPhone user. But on the other hand, I feel like you will have other features that you will probably be happy with, that it's now coming down to the device that you're buying. Again, it's not made for it, but if you're doing it, then yeah, I understand. Because Apple has so little to offer on the iPhone 14 that they actually need to withhold the updated chip to create some differentiation. Yeah, I mean, this is also like some. They have been doing it the other way around, right? Like the way that we're currently used to for years, and people have been have been buying the Pro anyways. So I don't feel like it's that. It's just more like the the power that the next iPhone 14 Pro needs, I guess, is something that the A16 is going to give it, and the A15 is enough for what the iPhone 14 is going to get, even if it trickles down some features from the iPhone 13 to the iPhone 14, the iPhone 13 Pro to the iPhone 14. So I mean, it doesn't make really, I don't know. The problem with this is the prices will be the same as today, or even higher. But the older SoC, despite the great performance, I mean, you already put it in quotation mark. For the people that are upgrading, this is going to be a new chip, and it's definitely going to be faster than what they're using right now, especially if they come from an Android phone. So this whole thing doesn't make sense. There's more hardware to a phone than just SoC. Yeah, true. When Apple launches the iPhone 3G, they added a lot of features despite keeping the same SoC/RAM. Yeah, again, like this is stuff that they keep doing, like especially even with the M1, right? Like they add Thunderbolt controllers, or they disable it, or they don't add it. Like it's a package, it's something that they can play with, and I feel like it's. I mean, yeah, you can go endlessly about it, but anyways, fuck it. 95 Mac is right though. Yeah, I feel like it's right as well. The A16 is going to give us. The A16 is going to show us what the M3 is going to be like, I guess, which is awesome. Yeah, probably will. I mean, especially if what we are expecting to happen is going to happen, right? Which is a logical expectation, is that when the M1 is based on the A14 and the M2 is actually based on the A15. Then yeah, you would expect that the M3 is based on the A16, but you never know, right? They might skip the A15 with the M2. Maybe they are working on these chips simultaneously, and they were like, okay, let's just base the M2 on the A16. You don't know, I don't know, nobody knows. It makes sense that the A15 is next for the M2 to be based on, but you never know. Especially when we account for testing and production and all these things, I still think that the A15 is the more logical one, but hey, whatever. But this is definitely cool though. I just don't feel like we shouldn't look too far into the future, because it's really dangerous, right? Look at Min Chi Kuo. And he's a professional, he's really good at it, and like we shouldn't do that. Anyways, let's go to the Notes app. What else do we have? We have quite a list.